Now we're recording and yeah, all right, cool. And now everyone can stop talking because it's awkward when the recording button is on. I think that's how it works. Right? Everyone's like, I don't know what to say.
We have to
Uh,
be all grown up and official now.
I know. The
Yeah.
adults, we now have to pretend to be adults.
Mhm.
I've
Um,
got my natural green screen going on here in my room.
Yeah,
it
Is
is
that
indeed
like,
green.
is that
it's
just like the
iconic.
wall paint on it or
Yeah, it's much more green in real life, but yeah,
The
the
iconic
internet at my
APA
studio was
style.
out today, so I had to come home to do this.
it's looking very turquoisey?
Yeah,
I like it. Why don't we just get started and I can introduce myself and then we can kind of go around and have everyone introduce them and then go from there. So, my name is Mike Pumphrey and I am one of the artists on King's Chill 3, the album that we're going to be talking about tonight. And I sort of grew into being the project coordinator for the album, mainly because I just wanted to see it get done and I had the time to get out my virtual whip and get people to do things. And so whatever it took, basically, like
Mhm.
slow moving torpedo. I want this album to come out because I loved the previous two albums, King's Chill Volumes 1 and 2. I thought they were great. And there was talk of a third one. And selfishly, I wanted to be on the third album. And also non-selfishly, there's so much great music that I was listening to. And I'm like, it is a shame for the music not to be out there. So I decided
Yeah.
to step up and help make it happen. So that's why I'm here. And let's go around the Zoom and whoever wants to go next. Actually, I'll assign someone so we can all assign someone. How about Erik?
Hey, so I'm Eric with Magic Map Studio. I guess I'm the sole proprietor. I don't really have anybody else working on. Well, not really. People help me mix and master and add things here and there, but no one else is really part of it, I guess technically. But I have remastered the King's Quest 5 and 6 soundtracks over the last few years, as well as done a track on King's Chill 2, The Nectar of the Gods. And I've done two tracks for King's Chill 3, and yeah, I love the community-oriented nature of these projects and how we all just kind of come together and end up making a really cohesive and pretty cool project that hopefully people will love and enjoy. Because yeah, it's been a blast doing it, and I love working with all you guys. So
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Assign someone else and just keep going
oh,
down the line.
how about Sarah next?
Okay, I'm Sarah Kelley and oh, my lighting is kicked in there. Okay. Right
It
on
knows you're
cue.
talking.
And I sing vocals on Land Beyond Dreams, which is a track that was remixed by Jon Paul Sapsford, who's here with us, and drums were played by Trolls. And I kind of sort of contract out to different projects. Somehow that started happening. I guess that happened because Erik had me sing on King's Quest 5. I gave some vocals to the Willow track, and then I've just been kind of doing random stuff. So about how long is this actually our track? How long has it been sitting out there? It's like it's been complete for a long time.
You're
yeah,
talking
it's been
Like two
complete for over a
years.
year.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
we started it like 2 years ago. So
yeah.
anyway, technically that's the second thing I ever recorded, but a bunch of stuff has come out in the meantime. So anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of here to play and have fun and make music.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. You are the vocalist for everyone, I guess, because no one's contributing vocals except for you. So you're the vocalist for the whole
Well,
project.
well, there's Jackie too.
I was going to say, yeah, Jackie has been doing some really
You're right.
amazing stuff for Error 47 as well. And
Good point.
we sang together on Girl in the Tower.
Of
They are
course.
incredible.
Of
Mhm.
course. Girl in the Tower. Yeah, that's amazing. It's an amazing track. John, say hello.
Hello, my name is Jon Paul Sapsford, and I've been doing the King's Chill stuff since the first one. I took the low hanging fruit the first time and did Girl in the Tower. Um, I play Trolls and I started Error 47 a few years ago. mean, Trolls is Space Quest historian, in case anyone's not familiar with his actual real name. Um, and I'm trying to think. That was 2020. We started King's Chill, I think, maybe 21. But either way, I really love doing this because I think, like Erik was saying, that's the whole community of it. You know, everyone kind of gets together and shares ideas and tips and things, and it's just always so much fun. And you know, you get the finished product, and it's just everyone's different styles are involved, and I always love hearing that. You know, you go from super, you know, super calm and chill to loud and huge vocals, and yeah, I'm really loving the way the new King's Chill is sounding. So yeah, that's why I like doing it.
And also, I should point out that you were the mastering engineer on almost all of the tracks for this.
Yeah, I did a lot of them. Brandon Bloom, who sadly didn't have enough time to throw in a track of his own for this one. He's on the other two, and just amazing tracks on those.
Yeah.
He did Erik's mastering, right, Erik?
Yeah, on one of them, and then he also did percussion on that same one. Yeah, the one he did percussion on, the Gard'jinn song, he also mastered that one. So he's got his hand on it, just not as quite as overtly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a King's Chill without some Brandon, you know, a little bit of Brandon at least, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of that, we might as well talk about the people who are not here in the chat, but are an integral part of the album as well. So obviously we should say that none of us would probably be here in the same way if it wasn't for Trolls, the Space Quest historian, who sadly can't be here on this chat, but is a big part of the album, has contributed 2 songs and drums for a third. So we'll I guess we'll play his songs and kind of tell some stories about it, even though he's not here to discuss the production of his own songs. But so he can't be here, sadly. But
yeah, Trolls has always been, you know, the glue that holds all of this together. He'd probably hate being described like that, but it's the truth.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's always true that the person that doesn't want to be the leader or the glue is always the person that ends up being that. It's like, what? Go away. And they're like, no, we're going to follow you. So yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
So
him and Roberta Vaughn, I don't think any of us would know each other pretty much.
Yeah, him and Roberta Vaughn. Yeah. That's how I know all of you guys.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's great. Yeah, I met all of you through the SQH Discord. And yeah, and here we are now, which is pretty awesome. Also, we are also missing the mysterious JBH, another artist on the album, has contributed a song which we'll be playing. He was not able to make it to this chat, but we'll be celebrating his music as well.
As well it should be. He does amazing work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love what he did with Nightmare. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorites on this.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. And then he dropped like a new version. And I was like, oh, I've been working on it. And it's like totally better. Like the first one was great. It's like, oh, it's a new, and it's like this even more orchestral. So that was pretty great to see.
I love his stuff.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have Mr. A. Ed Mark, who actually might be joining in the chat. We hope to see him in here right now, but he's not here. So
no, he's on vacation or something like that. He was going to try to call in.
We'll figure it out. We'll do it. However,
yeah.
If he shows up, I'll let him in, and then we can, we'll do it like that. So the way that I was thinking, so here we're here to discuss the upcoming album, King's Chill Volume 3. And the way I was thinking we would do it is we could just play through the tracks, and then whoever is primarily responsible for the track can kind of tell some stories. Maybe, you can either get into some technical musical stuff if you want, or just some stories behind the production of it, or Easter eggs or interesting things about the songs that people who listen may not catch, and you want to make sure they catch it. So anything that seems interesting to talk about with the song, I was thinking that you could have the floor to do that. How does that sound to everyone?
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. All right. I tried to test some but we have a sound engineer in the room, so I need to make sure that I'm on best behavior here and make sure I've got this stuff. It's like, yeah. So, all right, we got this. All right, okay. So, starting with track one, side one, or start with Fanfare. And Fanfare was actually the last track to be created for the album. We were all listening to the tracks, trying to figure out the track order, which to me is like the funnest. It's the most part when you like, it's like mixtape creating when you have a bunch of songs and you're like, what order can it be in? And we were all listening to it, and we were all kind of in the agreement. Eric, I know you're part of that as well. Is like there isn't really a first song. Like with all the great music that was on the album, there wasn't really like a side one, track one opener. And so we were having this discussion. All right, well, what do we do? And I was thinking like, well, why don't we have like, what would be a good side one, track one? What would be the good beginning? And then I thought back all the way to the beginning. So the beginning, King's Quest 1. Now, obviously, King's Quest 1 traditionally has the green sleeves theme that everyone knows, but I knew from when I was a kid with the PC Junior version, the real like original 1984 version before even AGI, there was a fanfare sound at the beginning of the game when you first loaded up that was not present on any of the other versions. It's this, as you'll hear in the song. But so that was like a musical snippet. It was basically the first ever audio for any kind of King's Quest game. And so I was thinking, well, if we're going to create a beginning, why don't we go all the way back to the beginning? And so I decided to create a song based on that fanfare riff. I'm going to hit play here. So that's basically the riff that you hear when you turn on King's Quest 1. But then I was also thinking, if you're listening to these other notes that are happening, I wanted to combine all of the existing tracks on this. I wanted to basically reference some of the other songs that were on King's Chill. And so there's actually riffs of 5 different King's Chill Volume 3 songs in this one song. You're hearing Land Beyond Dreams, you're hearing Tamir, you're hearing The Ferry, you're hearing Nightmare. So they're little snippets of the song to basically kind of create like a cohesive effect. So if
that's so cool.
I don't know if you noticed that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then of course the Manny theme.
Yeah.
And a little bit of King's Quest 6 narration. So yeah, when you listen to the song, listen if you can see the different tracks, and how they fit together. And then the fanfare again. And so that's the start. With that, we kind of move into it.
That's
And
awesome.
did I ever tell you about the ways all the different references to the different tracks?
No, I don't think so. That's the first I've heard that, and I finally put the 2 and 2 together now that you've said it. It's really cool.
Yeah, that is such a cool idea for an intro. I like it.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean your vocal line is prominent, Sarah, in that song. If you listen to it, like
I'm gonna have to go back. I caught Manny and a couple of others.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back and see if I can hear it all.
Totally. What would be a song without an Easter, like video game music song without an Easter egg? Like,
Yeah.
You gotta be able to hear it.
Well, I can't wait till we get to yours. You've got a friend in Tamir, because there's a lot of layers in that one too.
Some people think less is more. I think more is more. All right. Well, I'm going to throw on the next track, side 1, track 2, which is Manny Needs to Chill by Trolls, Space Quest Historian. And if I recall, John, this was like a test song or something? Like it was like
it was a challenge mode. So Trolls did this one all the way back when we were doing King's Chill 1. We did a bunch of actually that just never got used because we weren't sure. This is funny now thinking about this. We weren't sure if we were going to have enough material for a full album back then, because it was just, at the time, it was just me, Trolls, and Brandon doing a few songs. And we're like, we this is not enough for a full album. And I forget who it was. I want to say it was Brandon. Said, oh, well, you can make one out of that 7 notes or whatever that the Manny theme is. And he said, challenge accepted. And then he made this. Originally, it was like 7 or 8 minutes long. It was a real long, epic piece. And he sent it off to me to, do some mixing on it. And he made this real kind of spy movie, mysterious dance thing. And I don't know. It's a fun one for sure.
So was it? You guys had worked on this one so much earlier. That's cool.
Yeah, this was way back before the first one even came out. Yeah.
Cool.
We pulled it up, obviously, we're getting King's Chill 3 ready, and we edited a few things.
Yeah.
But
how come it didn't make it on Volume 1? Was it just like too much material, or how come it?
Well, yeah, so it didn't make Volume 1, I think because JBH came with his green sleeves. And Troll said, okay, we're throwing this one out. We'll put it on the next one or something like that. And because JBH's green sleeves was so amazing.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a killer track for sure.
Yeah. I want to say it was green sleeves that came along. That was the one that he's like, no, we can save this for another day. We want this other piece in here.
Cool.
I'm just impressed that he got 3 minutes and 36 seconds out of those 7 notes. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a few tracks here that the music is, there's not a lot of music, but there's a lot of song that comes out of it.
Yeah, and Trolls like that one because I think it's in 7/8, and he really liked playing in that and playing around with that kind of that beat, that stutter beat to it.
I never realized is this in 7/8 really?
No.
I guess it might be.
I think so.
Yeah. I knew it was in an odd time signature, but I never counted it out. That's cool.
Yeah, I think if my counting was just right.
It's tricky to listen to.
Now we're all counting.
Yeah, we're all.
Yeah,
you can't see. I'm tapping my thumb over here.
Well, good. So we saved this song from Oblivion when Volume 3 came out.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't for lack of quality. It was he wanted more diversity, and he was absolutely right in that regard,
Well, so also originally when we first were planning King's Chill 3, it was supposed to be a double album, and then we were going to have one album that was like more cheerful and light sounding songs, and another album was supposed to be like the dark, like scary.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I'm wondering if that was maybe a reason that this one was pulled out finally as well, is because it would fit so well on. And that's why my 2 songs are so different from each other. I literally did that. I made like the Ferry for the light album, and then Gard'jinn was for the darker one. So
then they ended up on the same one.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say one more thing about the last track. Did I catch that? So it's kind of like that spy motif, and then he almost has like this. The ending sounds a little bit like, how there's always those guitar chords at the end of the Bond theme. There was like a little bit of like I don't know. It wasn't exactly, obviously it wasn't guitar chords, but it sort of felt like it was a little bit of a Bond sign off at the end of the piece. If you go back and listen to it.
Yeah, almost like a wind chime effect kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But it just kind of continued the spy theme all the way through to the end, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good way to end it.
Totally. I never got the spy thing until you pointed it out, and now I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
Oh, no, you can't unhear it.
Yeah, it's like it's the James Bond thing for sure. Cool. All right, well, let's move on. Let's go to track 3, which is Nightmare by the very own JBH. Oops, nope, that's the wrong track. Here we go. So yeah, JBH is not here, but if anyone has any stories about this song, like I said, I've been listening to an older version of this song for, I don't know, like forever, enough that it was ingrained in my memory. And then he just dropped like a new version of this, which is just even more awesome and orchestral. And so this still feels kind of new to me because I haven't listened to this for as long.
Yeah, same. New version's pretty good. Just finely tuned, I would say. You know, sharpened up a bit.
Yeah.
It's also hard to know when a song is done, you know?
He's got a lot of breaks in it, but it keeps coming back better and bigger.
And I love that he used accordion, because there actually is another song on the same street in the game that uses accordion, but it's not this one. But yeah, I just love that he tied those in with that. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, thanks for pointing out the accordion. I didn't actually notice that until you mentioned it. Yeah.
I love the addition of the bell tone too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pitched bells are always a good call.
Well, especially when you're going for the orchestral, like when you're going for big.
Yeah,
it's
the
just
real
one of
big
those.
bong.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite track. I think I keep going back and forth, but I really like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm biased just because this album is one that I've worked on, but I feel like the tracks on Volume 3 are like, might be the strongest ones out of all 3 volumes so far. You know, we'll see, but I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, there's some really good ones, but I still, my fallback number 1 out of all 3 is probably Brandon's.
Which one?
The saxophone solo. Where there's a saxophone solo, is that?
Oh yeah, Brandon's, yeah.
That's like my fallback.
Oh, was that the KQ1 EGA piece?
Let me look. I can't believe I don't
It's the
remember.
Oak Tree. I loved that. I used to sit there and pause my game on that piece and listen to it. So I was super excited about it.
I think you're right. Yeah, when you're at the top, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon's Oracle song, which is I think second track on King's Chill 1.
Yeah.
That's the one that I always come back to.
Oracle's so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like I'm also biased because he kind of somehow picks my favorite pieces from the originals, so I'm predisposed to like them, but they're also very good.
Yeah, Under a Daventry Moment.
Yeah.
We're talking about another song on the list that JD just put to me.
But it's Brandon's are great for the same reason that JBH's is great, because JBH here understands so well how to subtly do these big epic rollouts and stuff that I always dream about being able to pull stuff like that off. It's so cinematic the way he does it.
In some ways, that made this song, in my experience, almost hard to program or sequence into the album, because it's just so big that when I was thinking about it, it's like, is this the ending? Is this the beginning? Is this the middle? And I realized that, like, anywhere you put it, it's just gonna be bold capital letters dominate. And so there's like, it's just huge no matter where you put it. And so I think we just decided to have it kind of come down afterwards and not have it be like the end of something. And he kills the drums here. This used to be drums at the end. And there's... Yeah, it's great. feel like
Yeah,
applauding.
that's about as
Ooh.
good as that.
Yeah, that one
Wow.
is so good. I'd like to point out too that if you ever hear anyone involved in any of this complain about Josh Groban, it's because of JBH. Because
The green sleeves, copy strike,
he did
yeah.
Green Sleeves on King's Chill 1, which is the same melody, of course, as What Child Is This, which Josh Groban apparently thinks he owns. And we all got copyright strikes when we played the music on streams and YouTube videos and stuff. So that's what we all Groban.
I didn't hear about that. So, like promoting the first King's Chill, there was a bunch of copyright strikes on it.
Yeah. Whenever anyone would do it on Twitch, we would get notified. And if we uploaded it from Twitch to YouTube, it would get claimed by Josh Groban and Sony or something like that.
It's a public domain song.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Wow, that's wild.
So if anyone's out there has ever wondered if they're on the SQH Discord or something like that, someone just randomly yells about Groban, that's what we're talking about. Groban.
All right, well, so let's do Coffin Dance here.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
From Andrew.
From Andrew. Do we know why he goes by A? Does he prefer A over Andrew, or is that just
It's just go with his initials.
Okay.
I think it's just his screen name, yeah.
Yeah.
I never know with some people, they're just like, do not use my real name, like JBH. Like I don't know his name.
And
so this is a fun one too. He did one. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say this specifically in the game is where you kind of go down into the boogeyman's lair where the Troll King's being held in the coffin. That's where this music appears.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I guess the end of it has Mort's theme.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I did the mixing on this one. We were adding stuff, and I'm trying to remember exactly which theme was where. But
How did he do that dip in the vocals? Is that like a sidechain percussion? Along with like a percussion type of deal? That was really.
I'm not sure exactly how he did it.
16.
But I know how you can do that.
No, me too. I think that's how I would do it. But yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah.
Love that effect.
Is that kind of like a honky tonk piano sound? Like, I like that.
Just this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I for one always love the behind the scenes stories of like the patches used or how this sound was gotten, or they recorded the drums in a basement in a stairwell. Like I love stuff like that.
Well, so Andrew is a very talented photographer and like video editor and stuff like that. You should see he does just for fun. He'll take pictures of his cat, and they're just
I was just gonna say the cat
good.
pictures. He has the best pictures in the pet channel.
Yes. But he obviously has a side passion of doing music and stuff like that. He did. I'm trying to remember the name of it from King's Chill 2, the bookworm one.
God, I love that piece. Every time I hear it, I'm always like, drop it right before it drops.
Yeah.
Oh, so he added more at the very end, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like 2 songs for the price of 1 right here.
He really knows how to do bass. And have that effective, just, not staccato, but definitely not legato bass, where it's just, you feel it, but you don't feel it the whole time.
Yeah. And then it's like almost like a record, like
I was just gonna say,
like like old timey record sound.
Yeah.
Which I quite like.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like you were saying, I love those vocals swinging in and out. Those are
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
Really cool.
So next is me. We're coming back to me now. To end side one, my track is You've Got a Friend in Tamir from King's Quest 4. This is what I call the mournful theme. It's not the first theme that you hear when you load the game, but it's the one that happens afterwards. It's also often Genesta's theme, and it's the one that's in 3. It's the mournful tune that kind of shows up through a lot of the different themes throughout the game. And
Oh, it
I
is
was
in 3. I never noticed that before. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, it is no, it
It's
totally
like,
is, and that was actually a challenge because my original idea is I love that theme. I loved it ever since I first heard it. I think it's beautiful. But my first idea for the song was let's take that and let's turn it into like a dancey number, like a little bit more up tempo. And like you can't really do that in 3 easily because everything feels when you make something up tempo in 3, it's like a sea shanty. Everything is like da 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 da. It doesn't work. So I wanted to make it in 4, and so I had to kind of transcribe a 3/4 time mournful tune into a 4/4 time up tempo tune. So that was the challenge. And also, as long as we're talking music and as long as we're getting into musicology, the one thing other that I didn't realize until I started the track was that, and if you listen to this, you'll hear it. The tune itself is in D minor. So it starts out in D minor. That's fine. It ends 30 seconds later in E flat major. So that's a semitone up going from minor to major. That is a really, really tough transition to make. It's not the type of thing that lends itself to looping a lot because it doesn't take long for it to just go into a different key. And so I tried a number of different ways to just like make a transition from E flat major back to D minor. And eventually I'm just like, the heck with it. I'm just going to loop it anyway. And it,
mhm.
it, it worked enough that it didn't feel too, at least it wasn't like a tritone or something. So
The one
it,
thing, it's interesting that you mentioned that because with my first King's Chill track, Nectar of the Gods and King's Chill 2,
Mhm.
it naturally augmented a fourth by the end. So if you're looping, which I did it twice, then it's jarring when you go back to E minor because now it sounds like you're supposed to be in A minor. So
Mhm.
I just did one of each. I did uh and the first verse is in E minor, and then the next verse is in A minor. So that could have been an option too. I mean, I love the piece, obviously, but you could have just done like
A semitone up in the next verse.
yeah, and then make your E major back to E minors. I don't know, just a random thought or idea. But
Absolutely. Like those are the things that I considered as well, because it's
yeah,
just like a semitone is awkward. And
yeah.
so I think I managed to pull it off.
Oh yeah,
Um,
completely.
Yeah, it's almost Picardie's third.
Kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. It's a
Same
more
idea, I think.
yeah, I guess so. Like it ends in a major after spending most of its time in minor. Yeah. All right, I guess it is kind of like a Picardy third. Um, so I'm gonna start the track, and so just to show my bias here, so my musical history is more of like folk music and acoustic guitars and things like that and pianos. And so electronica is kind of like more of a challenge for me. And it's not like it's not where I hang out usually. And so that's one of the reasons I was attracted to joining the project and wanting to submit a track because I'm like, all right, well, I want to do something I haven't done before. But I wanted to create a connection to the music that I'm used to doing, which is why the music starts with an acoustic guitar. But what I will point out, and I want you to listen to this as you go through it, I think I can probably state kind of a boast, but it's also kind of like I hope it's okay. This is I think probably the only track in all of the King's Chill entire thing, all volume 3, that uses no MIDI at all.
Cool.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's mainly because I don't really know how to use MIDI that well. And so when I wanted like like a hi-hat going across every 16, I sampled a hi-hat and I went into Pro Tools and I copied it 16 times.
Mhm.
It might make some people go crazy when you look at that. I mean, John, you didn't have to see the originals because I just sent you the mix downs, but it is everything there is sampled, beat detected, pitch corrected from me playing the keyboard.
Cool.
That's the old style of doing it, you know?
It really, it was like, it was also like, yeah, like I love Kraftwerk and like a lot of their stuff, despite being electronic, it's all analog. They didn't use computers. So that was kind of what I was influenced by. Did this. Thank you. All right.
So this is you playing?
Here. This is me. Yeah, this is just my guitar, yeah, my acoustic. But you can hear at the beginning, this is more like what the actual original piece sounds like, and this is in 3.
This is the sound of my childhood right here, Mike. I played this so much as a kid.
I get it.
Oh my gosh.
Me too. Yeah. It's just beautiful, and so it's easy to work with good material. And so from here, it goes into 4.
Okay, now that I know that a bunch of different themes are in here, I'm going to be listening to find them.
Totally. So,
I did notice Pan last time.
Okay. All right.
But...
So yeah, so the title is called You've Got a Friend in Tamir, and my idea was to create, there's all these characters that you meet in the game, and that some of them are friendly, and so from this mournful, lonely, beginning, you meet people or you meet creatures, and they're friends to you. So I wanted to put the themes of different creatures into the game. So you'll hear that in the next verse.
That's so cool. I love it.
And so the tune is stretched out so it fits into 4/4 time now.
Yeah.
And I think the key change works, just going back to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in this verse, we introduce the friends. So there's 4 of them, and they're introduced in order. See if you can figure out which ones they are.
Okay.
First one.
There's Pan.
That's Pan. Second one. It's a little harder. It's the whale.
Oh!
And then the unicorn comes in.
Oh, yeah! Okay, yeah!
And if you listen on headphones, you can hear the frog in the low register here.
Oh, yeah, totally!
And they're all playing together.
Cool.
That's so cool, Mike. I love that.
That is way cool.
That's awesome.
So it's just it's all these other great themes that maybe you can't make a song out of, but they're really cool themes. Like I love the unicorn theme.
Yeah.
And so I just moved it into this song so we can all kind of listen to it together.
I loved this theme when I was a kid. I loved it.
Really?
When we got our first sound card, though, it just blew my mind. Because before we were hearing internal speaker, and then, oh my gosh.
Yep.
So you started with one voice, one channel, PC speaker? Oh, yeah.
I like this section a lot, too.
This is another part of that same mournful theme. It's another Genesta theme. And if you listen to the delay part, that's another kind of Kraftwerk thing. All right, the bass.
Love it.
I played that, but John, you made that amazing because I don't know what you did on that, but like I did the slide and it sounded good, and then you put it in the song, and I'm just like, I like turned that up and I was just like, I don't know what you did, but it was great.
Yep.
I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to really make low-end instruments punch out.
Yeah, I've noticed that in some of the things that you've done for me too. Absolutely, I love it.
Oh yeah. Moth.
So as John knows, because he mastered it, there's like 36 tracks now because, like I said, more is more. And
Oh gosh, you know what? Like, how many were there on Girl in the Tower?
Oh, there was over 100 on Girl in the Tower.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
For the Era 47 one. My version for the King's Chill, there was only like, I don't know, 20. But the King's Chill or the Era 47 Girl in the Tower, there was over 100 tracks.
well, there's so much going on. It's kind of like 2 different songs, or maybe even 3 different
Or
songs.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There was a lot doing on that one.
totally. Yeah, it's. I'm not surprised, but still, 100 is a lot. That is. Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of those Era 47 ones were right in the 100 range for Soups On. That's, yeah.
Charlie.
But,
None
you
of us
know,
expected that product to get that big. Turned out great though.
As cool as it is, I started doing recordings on like cassette 4 tracks where you had to make commitments to everything and bounce to the other track, and that's awesome. And like, it forces you to make decisions, but there's also, sometimes there's something to be said for just throwing it all in and just making huge sounds happen.
Yeah, there's definitely different schools of thought there where you're forced to be creative when you're limited, but sometimes if you have a vision in mind, being unlimited, unrestrained can be huge. I mean, Ken Allen, obviously had his fingers in lots of this stuff. Was telling me one time he referred to it as the tyranny of choice.
Yeah.
And how it's good to limit yourself a little bit, and that forces you to be more creative. But sometimes that you go for 100 tracks, because you can.
And you somehow managed to make it sound like one cohesive thing. I was very, very impressed. It was good. Anyway, but back to this though, Mike. That is such a good track. I really, really, really like it.
Thank you.
I love layers of music, and I love really intentional music where, it's not just about the final product, but it's about the kind of the pieces that you put together that represent different things. So it's kind of like I don't know. I think music can kind of be literature in a way. And the more I get to analyze a piece, the more I like it.
Well, thank you, by the way. Thank you. I think the layers are the thing that I find in music most interesting, is that when the best type of music are the stuff that really just gets you immediately, and then after like the 50th listen, you're like, that's happening too. Like when there's depth, like when you can find music that does both of those things, that just grabs you instantly and has those layers, like it's just, for the record books. So
yeah.
That's why I love listening to stuff on different speakers and headsets.
Yes.
You pick up things that
absolutely
existed.
Have you ever had headphones or some kind of listening system that you hear things you never heard before specifically on those? I feel like you work
I
in
have that
studio,
happen all
John.
the time. I have that happen all the time. That's why you always have to have, I'm blanking on the word for it, but just more inexpensive equipment. I've got big fancy studio monitors, which are going to sound different than your car stereo, which sounds different than your AirPods, which sounds, so you got to test it in all of those, and it's night and day different. Sometimes. And it's like that with fully produced albums that you could just buy anywhere. You listen to them in your car versus your headphones. I'm always hearing different stuff, and sometimes I like them better in the headphones for doing this, or sometimes it's great coming out of some big bookshelf speakers.
Well, it's also like sometimes music like in the studio has like, it sounds great on $10,000 speakers, but if it sounds like, it sounds like garbage on your like tiny little whatevers, then like who cares? Because no one has $10,000 speakers.
Oh yeah, I was at a studio in Chicago a bunch of years ago, but it's big fancy studio. They had all this, millions of dollars of equipment and stuff like that. That with a press of a button, it ran to an old little cheap Casio stereo that probably cost $50 new, because they had and it was mono. I remember that. They
Mhm.
always wanted to make sure if it sounds, good on that, we're good, is what they always would say.
That's a really, really smart policy. That's really
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, actually, I did
Always
that for
do
a
your
while.
reference checks.
I think I was doing that for a while. I can't remember on which project, but I would actually mono everything, just put a mono plugin on my master track, and
Yep.
then make it sound as good as possible there.
Mhm.
Yeah, then it'll sound even better in stereo, in theory.
Something that I've done, I mean, it was kind of on accident because I was just listening to it in different places, but when I record my own vocals, I hear marked differences depending on what it is. And so sometimes I'll think it's great, and then I'll listen to it on, some other device and go, oh, I didn't hear that before. Wait a second, so it kind of is, it's sort of a good thing, and then sometimes it can kind of be a bad thing where you can kind of get into a perfectionist loop with it. But I think overall it is a good idea to make sure that it sounds good on the stuff that's inexpensive or,
Yeah, you got to balance out the, perfect being the enemy of good.
yeah.
And
Oh,
but yeah, you don't want to get studioitis, we always called it, right? Nitpicking every last little thing.
Mhm.
I did
And that
that.
you
Yeah,
just,
sorry,
yeah, you
guys.
just get mired down with it, and studioitis is what I've always called it.
Well, I did that with the sequel covers piece that we did. That was, you remember that? Like you came back
Oh
like
yeah.
with this really good, really great sounding mix first, and I was like, let's try 700 different things, and then we came back to the first one because I could hear a couple
But
notes where it's like I don't like that, but then yeah, but it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
Mhm.
that was more, we were trying to figure out what kind of sound we were
Sure.
going for. So that's, yeah, that was a little, we were trying different ideas, not nitpicking, I don't think,
Yeah,
on
I
that
mean,
one.
I guess that's fair. And like again, to come back kind of to the general thing, I don't want to veer off too much into different projects, but I think that, um, the lesson learned there was like sometimes the first thing that you first take even or one of your early takes can be the best one because
Mhm.
Hmm.
um it lost its lightness. It became heavier the more we played with it. I just felt like it kind of started weighing down. And so I think that sometimes going with something earlier that just kind of came out of you that you weren't thinking too hard about, that can sometimes be the best thing. But sometimes you
Yeah.
have to mess with it to know that that's the best one.
And just for reference, if anyone's watching this, Sarah and I worked together on a cover. She was the lead on it, but a cover of the opera theme from Gabriel Knight 2 for Robert Holmes's sequel album. And I think it was great. Not to toot our own horn, but I thought it was cool.
Oh, I thought it was really cool too. In fact, when you came back with, and just to brag on Jon for a second here, I said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I sent him kind of like he basically listened to it, made up this whole backing track just by ear, and then made magic with it. And we went back and forth a couple of times, but it wasn't that much. I think we had like the whole thing down in like a couple of days.
Hmm.
But when he sent that
Yeah, it
back to
came
me the
together
first
pretty
time, I
quick.
was like, "What?" It was really cool. So
Yeah, that was good stuff.
it was fun.
And
I think we're
I
moving.
agree.
Oh, go
Like
ahead.
I agree. First takes can sometimes be the best. Always record the
Hmm.
first take, just and also if you listen to like all the classic music you love, like before autotune was invented, everyone was out of tune.
Oh
Everyone,
yeah.
and that's cool. Like we don't it's not like it would be better if they were in tune.
That's why I appreciate some artists like before the advent of autotune. There are some that are just like perfectly in pitch, like the gospel singer Sandy Patty. I don't know if you've heard her. Like she's like the most perfect vocal I've ever heard in my entire life. No autotune needed there. So it's just sometimes when I hear older artists, and I know that there's no way anything has been fixed. I'm just
Mhm.
absolutely floored that people can be that talented because I do a couple. I do sometimes way more than a couple before I'm satisfied with what I have done. So
I think we've all done vocal parts where it's like, where did my vocal decide to do that pitch for? Or like, it's like
Yeah.
you think you're gonna do one thing
yeah,
and then it does something
that note
else.
wasn't in there before. I don't know what that is.
Creative, but no, thank you.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
anything live, really, gosh, I would spend an entire day, just a solid chunk of a day working on 4 or 5 pieces for some of the soups on stuff on my violin and viola. Because yeah,
Oh yeah.
a lot of that was pretty tricky and technical, and
Mhm.
yeah, going back and forth between instruments. And like you said, sometimes the first one was the best. And I'm like, I just got to stop messing with this. This is the what I'm sending.
Yeah.
Everyone I met at Adventure Game Fanfare, like all the people were super nice.
Dude, and I got to introduce um Cedric the Owl on stage,
Yeah.
like Richard Arrington.
I saw
Like,
that.
and I got to sit right next to him. Like, yeah, same thing. Never in a billion years.
That's so
The first time
great.
I played the CD version of KQ5, did I ever think I'd be sitting next to the man who recorded his voice, right? Like,
I know.
And
that
like
was,
I'm sure he also was like I work for a software company. Oh, and they want me to do this vocal thing. Okay, fine. This is never gonna affect my life in any kind of meaningful
Yeah.
way.
yeah.
He didn't know that Cedric would like live on in
Meanwhile,
infamy, I
37
guess.
years
No,
later.
not maybe not infamy, but
I mean, he's gotten so much like it went from Cedric is the most annoying creature in the game to we love Cedric because he's the most annoying creature in the game. Like
I
it's
think
like
he's
Kong
like,
full circle.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, completely.
All right, so we're back here. We're back for side two, and we're gonna enter what I call the Erik block.
Yes.
When we were looking at when I personally was looking at doing the track sequencing, I didn't know yet who had done which. I just didn't have that in my head yet, so I wasn't thinking of who did what. And then and then I was like attaching the names. I'm like, oh, it's two Erik songs in a row. So take it away, Erik. You let me
Okay.
know when you want me to hit play and tell us about the tracks.
Well, the only pre-story I would have is probably the one that I've already said, about how it was supposed to be a two vinyl set, and I did one light and one dark piece. So yeah, I say we just hit play, and I started out with the Ferryman, which has always infamously been one of my very favorite songs in all of King's System. And I wanted to get a little unique with it. And I've always been inspired by this group named Lemon Jelly. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them before. Kind of an underground, like lo-fi slash hip hop slash DJ type artist. And um, he's always done like these weird, like little vocal innuendo things like that. And I've always just been kind of fascinated by it. So I just figured I'd throw it into this piece. So, yeah. And
Erik,
it's a little,
can you actually get a little bit closer to the microphone? When you
oh,
got closer,
sure.
it was much easier to hear you.
Yeah, let me just,
Yeah, perfect.
sorry, I'm not on my good mic setup today.
So what was the lemon jelly type things that were in the song? Like what pieces are there for the people who don't know?
It was the vocal, little weird vocal lines that I did, things like that. They would like it's just random little vocal quotes that they have spread out throughout some other pieces, like "What do you do in the box?" and things like that. So yeah, I just figured I'd get a little weird with it, and so I did. Um, and a lot of it is original notation as far as how the MIDI was. But I just kind of took it and made it a little more Monkey Island style with more
Oh yeah.
production. Um, so there's the bass kind of repeats, it's a little bit repetitive, but it works, and it kind of just I like how it kind of bends a little bit at some of the phrases, ends of the phrases, things like that. And then besides this vocal that there's really I think it's I want to say marimba and Celeste that kind of act as a duet throughout the piece. Um, and that's how the song ends as well, and I kind of wanted to accentuate them, and so I let the song end out that way so people could get a grasp, oh, these things have been going on the whole time, and it's just kind of in the background, but here they are. Um, yeah, this part. And also I brought in the chorus much sooner than it does in the original in the original song, because it's obviously like, well, not obviously, maybe just everybody, but it's by far my favorite part of the song, and I wanted to kind of emphasize that. So I got like one verse out of the way, and then the rest of it's literally just chorus over and over again.
Okay, because yeah, it does kind of switch to the second half, like or the second part, like for a good chunk of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just my favorite part, so I did it the most, I guess.
You can, that's the thing, is like when you're reimagining these songs, you can take the part you like best and play that more.
Yep. Yeah, it's super fun to work on these in this style for sure. When I was asked to do Nectar of the Gods or do a song for Peace Chill 2, or I could do one if I wanted, they said, "Hey, we're doing this if you want to do a track." Um, Nothing at all like I had ever done before as far as style. And this is the point I was talking about, these right here. It's original notation, but I think they're played by woodwinds in the original song or something similar. But anyway, yeah, I ended up doing Nectar of the Gods and it worked and it turned out. And I'm like, this is really fun. So kind of got me hooked on doing this style. Kind of got me hooked in lo-fi in general, I think I would say.
I really like Nectar of the Gods.
Yeah, me too. It's probably still my favorite that I've done out of all three of them, honestly. I think it's everyone's favorite if people listen to them, especially like my daughter. Played my Nectar of the Gods for a while.
It's an important audience right there.
Yep.
Totally.
But yeah, that was a fun piece. I really enjoyed working on that one. It kind of came pretty naturally, I think. Yeah, just everything kind of just fell into place for me on that. And I tweaked it a little bit. I do have one thing that every one of my pieces has, and I don't know if anybody could identify it. But every piece that I've ever done always has triangle in it. And I don't know why. And I've never been like super great at percussion either, but I just could not leave triangle. I can't leave triangle out of anything, it seems like. I don't know. I love it. So
It does such a nice job of just cutting through and provide that slight percussive pulse.
it kind of lives in its own frequency range, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the real high mid, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, I love it.
Do you actually own a triangle?
I don't, but
All right.
that could be really fun. Maybe I should.
Birthday present for Erik. We now know what he needs.
Erik needs a triangle.
I would dig that. I would be using that all the time. Doing live recordings. I'm building my studio now. I need cool little instruments like that in it.
All right, that's what we're gonna get for you. All right, and the Erik block continues. The next
Cool.
track, side B, track number 2, is Gard'jinn.
The dark piece. Um, yeah, we can go ahead and play it, I suppose.
Okay.
But the intro bit is by Brandon. He said this was inspired by Star Trek, which I thought was cool. I did all of this. Um, it kind of there's like I can't remember what plugin I used, like a fader limiter or something that like started it out more muffled sounding like this. And then it gets brighter as it gets into the actual piece as far as like the harpsichord. But this is by Chris Brayman, and it is the Gardener theme on Isle of the Deep in King's Quest 6. Kind of a haunting theme, and that's kind of the avenue I took with it, I suppose. And those
Triangle.
Triangle.
Here it is.
The first version I did of this song, I actually brought that in a lot sooner, so that's been what's stuck in my head all the time. And kind of so every time I hear it, I'm like, wait, aren't there supposed to be triangle way sooner than that?
It's got a little bit of like haunted circus feeling to it, you know?
Yeah, in fact, the plugin I used for this is literally like Creepy Toys.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like a glass,
I can
it's
see
like
that.
a glass sound. And it's the main melody. It's like a layer of 3 different sounds, like some sort of glass and some instruments. It all come together. It ended up sounding pretty nice after the melody.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like a steel drum underwater. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the sounds, I think it's one of these glass sounds, has like this harmonic, which is interestingly like dissonant.
Yeah.
I can't quite tell exactly like what interval it is, but it's especially in the high notes, it sounds like it's like intentionally out of tune in a kind of creepy way. It's really cool.
It's got that sympathetic uh harmonic going on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
The delay
this
is
one.
nice too. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, delays can cause that nice sympathetic one. I love it.
Mhm. And so this is the one Brandon Bloom did the percussion on, like the backbeat sound, because I was really struggling with what to come up with there. Percussion has always been kind of one of my weak points. So Trolls did one and Brandon did one, and I got to pick, and they were both great, but I just thought like Brandon's seemed to fit a little better for what I was feeling.
So that's for the outtakes album. The alternate versions and demos and rarities,
Yep.
when we do the King's Chill box set.
And I love all the Chris Brayman stuff because it works so well because there's always that hint of magicalness, or
Yeah.
he's so good at doing that.
There was one note that I did change in a melody, only because I really had to. It was literally like I don't know, like a major, like a minor seventh off of to make it sound right and make it actually flow. It sounds good in the game and when it's played originally, but with this version, I had to just make one slight adjustment to actually make it function. So I broke over one tiny rule, but I don't think anybody notices.
Now I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be ABing that because I can't. I know the song, but I can't detect anything that's different. So I'll have to go listen back in the game.
I'm pretty sure it's in the melody too. It's been like a year and a half since I've worked on it, so I can't remember which it is now.
Yeah.
But I think it does the job of being, dark and creepy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fun one to work on for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. I thought it always had that like middle of side two energy too. Like if you listen to albums, like the middle of side two is often like the darkest part of the album. It's like before it like
Yeah.
builds to the exciting conclusion. You ever notice that? Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's kind of where you put your more, I don't know, philosophical, a little bit more personally indulgent stuff, And I don't mean that in a negative way, but like you're making something, you got kind of like the poppier stuff like up front, and then you kind of got the stuff that you really, really, really like later on that you kind of bury it in there. And I don't know.
I always say, listen to side B of Brothers in Arms and Born to Run. They're both prime examples of that.
Yes, they are. Oh God.
I love both of those side
Why
Bs.
do we always end up talking about Brothers in Arms like almost every day?
It's so good. It is not what people that only have a top level understanding of Dire Straits don't understand how good side B of Brothers in Arms is.
Oh, okay.
But isn't that true of any like really great album? I'm not familiar with Brothers in Arms, so I'm gonna go
I've never
find
heard
it.
it. I'm sorry. I'm Googling now.
I mean, I know the singles.
In my
It's
opinion,
it's got
only...
Money for Nothing and Sultans of Swing, but it's got some real deep, I don't know, soulful, not soulful, but
it's like almost like slow ballady type of stuff almost, but that album has a lot of variety on it. It's probably my daughter's favorite album. Every time we ask what we want to play for a vinyl, she's like the blue one because the little guitar he's got on the cover of it.
Yeah.
But she's picking stuff that's like really good, I don't know, because here's the thing is that when you go through patterns with kids, like where they want to hear the thing that you really just couldn't stand listening to one more time. So I've been trying to get her to play like not kid music around her, kind of stuff that I enjoy anyway. So it's interesting to see what she latches onto in that, or what she appears to appreciate. Like she usually just gets really, really quiet if she likes something, because she's usually not really, really quiet. So, so then I know I'm like, all right, okay. She really liked John Baptiste actually when she was a very, very little one. When he had I forget what the name of the album is, but it won the Grammy for best album, and she was just Boogie into that. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
So you're getting a playlist together. You're like, all right, I know which ones you like, and building on that.
And if it happens to be stuff that mom likes, then yay, right? You gotta train them. I like the good stuff, you know.
Totally. All right. Well, let's move on. And next on, this is Sarah. This is your solo. This is your.
Well, to come back to this though, this is Jon's track that he graciously invited me to sing on. This is not my track.
I know. I'm just saying.
I just want to say.
It's dull without you, though, Sarah.
Oh, stop.
Well, take it away, the two of you. I want to hear about how the track came together and how you came to sing on it, and all the stories. Let me know when you want me to hit play. Or
Yeah, you can hit play whenever. It's only
Okay.
4 minutes.
Mhm.
But this was always one of my favorites because it's King's Quest 7 is like the fever dream in a long list of fever dream type games. But this one was always so weird with the weird animation, everything like that always stuck out to me anyways. But I was just sifting through trying to find something to do for this one. And this one came up and I started, hacking out some chords and things like that and laying down a few ideas. I'm like, you know what? This really does actually need the vocals though. Putting some synth with that melody isn't going to really cut it. So I send Sarah a message and she agreed to do it. So I sent her, the lyrics and, where they come in and stuff. And best I can tell, she smiled and said, "Oh, you don't have to tell me that. I know this one like the back of my hand. You told me a story about singing it at karaoke or something." Like, I know, I got this. And she, of course, did. So, what was that, Sarah? You said you did something with was it karaoke?
I have no idea. I have like no memory of this right now, but
Oh, okay.
I think I made like a joke recording of it.
Maybe
No,
that's what it was.
I
Okay.
can tell you what it was. They did this song for Mad Libs and Classic Gamers Guild, and I recorded myself singing the Mad Lib of it. So somewhere out there, there's a video of me singing a completely nonsensical version of this. But yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's what it was. Okay.
Lyrically,
Yeah, sorry, my memory's
completely
terrible.
nonsensical. No, it's fine.
And
ahead.
there are some synth drums going on, but there's also some live drums, and those are trolls playing. I asked him, kind of jokingly forced him to do. I said, "You owe me," and he obliged with some just great drums as always.
Yeah, the drums are really, really great. The vocal idea kind of started with those ahs. I was just kind of listening to it and singing in the car, and I'm like, I kind of hear this here, and so I sent you a bunch of stuff, and you layered it together how you wanted to. And then you stuck some at the end, which I thought was really cool. I wasn't even singing there.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, it felt like it needed a coda. It just kind of ended a little weird. It's like, this needs the coda. Just a little super delayed and reverberated. Your vocals sounded great to me.
I did these. I remember I did these when Alice was like in a crib, so I'm guessing that I did these like a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe.
It was about that. It was right after we did the sequel song.
Yeah, I think it was.
And here's that little coda part.
Yeah. I like that you added that. That worked really well. What was I gonna say? When I hear this, I'm listening to how I am using that mic, and I have learned quite a bit since then. So it's been very hard for me throughout this process to not say, "Hey, can I go back and try this part again?" I've been just like, I have restrained myself so well because that was literally like the second thing I did with our setup. I have a closet. It's a very sophisticated setup. It's a closet with lots of clothes in it and some curtains. And then in our old house, it was much the same. And I was sort of learning on the fly how to use all this equipment that we had now because of the pandemic. So that was kind of when we started doing stuff. When Ben started, my husband, who's done some instrumental music for Erik, and has done some other stuff. Yeah, that's. I have restrained myself very well from not going back and trying to fix things. It feels like that's the temptation when you have stuff to record with. It's like, because I'd done a lot of live stuff before that, and when you did it, it was just like, well, that was what it was, moving on. And now that the perfectionist in me actually has something where I can redo that, it becomes a struggle to not do that infinitely.
Yeah, you just got to always tell yourself, capture the live feel of it,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to do that. It was super fun.
Thank you so much for doing it.
I can't imagine the track without you singing on it at this point.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of a given.
I know, and it's also the only track in the King's Chill canon that has real vocals on it. So yeah.
Yeah, there are some samples in the other ones, but yeah, no actual real people singing.
Like real new ones.
So I feel like that is, it's a special place in the whole thing. It's like, this is like a big deal. Like not that many songs require or would benefit from it, and just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, and as one last note, speaking of just doing the part of the song you liked, you'll notice it never goes into the chorus ever.
No, nope.
So what I did was I took the chorus words and kind of changed them slightly to kind of mush them into that verse thing. So, purists will be offended, but that's okay.
Yeah. I did the same thing when I did Girl in the Tower. I'm just like, yeah, there's some parts I don't care for. They're not going to go in there,
I don't like that part. I'm not going to do it. No.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want with them. Like the same thing with the Ferryman again, right? We can make them how we want. Cool.
Purists aren't going to buy this album.
I have a feeling not. So I think we're okay.
Yes. Yes. This is not for purists. This is for fun.
Yeah. This is for people who love it and want to play in the sandbox of the music and just enjoy it for what it is. So
exactly.
Yeah.
If you want purists, we still have King's Quest 6 available.
That's true. And that is amazingly true to form.
Link in the description.
That Girl in the Tower is exactly the way it was originally.
Exactly how Mark Siebert planned it.
Oh yeah, we just made his vision come true.
That was the version that they were selling, putting on the radio. Call your radio station and put that version of the song on the radio. I'm sure the local folk music station would be playing that.
Yep.
All right. So last song on the album is Basement Boogie by Trolls, and I'm going to start the song here. This is another ending the album with a long extended banger. And this is kind of turning into one of my favorite tracks. When I first heard it, it was like, I don't know. It's very subtle, and the way it evolves is very like subtle. Like, the different, like different melody lines, and the more you listen to it, the more you hear. And I don't know. I just think it's great.
Yeah, it goes a lot harder than you think,
That's true. It is kind of like maybe like one of the hard, Girl in the Tower Error 47 aside, it is kind of one of the hardest tracks in this whole thing.
So this makes me feel like it's a track out of Terminator, with the way he's using percussion and the fact that it's got a little bit of that 80s feeling to it. I can just hear that because of those metal sounds. The Terminator theme has like those actual metallic sounds in it. He's using the hi-hat a lot, and I like that. I can just see this in an 80s action movie or something at the end, like some sci-fi dystopian thing.
Like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
His style of percussion is just fascinating. I love it.
Yeah, he has a way of throwing in all those little subtle nuances, but still keeping that pulse right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
When he did the percussion for Black Widow, I said just go with what you want, and all of the elements were still there, but it was just accentuated beautifully and perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this was another challenge mode one from before, right? This might have been he'll correct me on this when he sees this, but it was King's Chill 1 or 2. It was another one because the basement theme is from King's Quest 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very short theme, right?
It's really short. Yeah, you can. I feel like you can miss it if you're not listening for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I believe this was another challenge accepted thing that he was doing.
Well, he pulled it off.
Are there any other challenges? Any other ones
I'm trying to think of
accepted or given yet?
I think these were the only two that made it to albums. I can't remember. I'd have to dig through my folders at work because I got a whole big King's Chill folder that's been just being updated for the last 4 or 5 years. But I think these are the only two.
Yeah. Sorry, you go, sir.
Oh, I was just saying, now I'm going through my mental catalog of Sierra music, trying to think of something ridiculous to challenge.
Trolls can make anything into a 10-minute epic song.
I know. Well, I mean, look at this. Like, I wasn't even thinking about how short it was. I'm like, oh, this is just so cool. But really, there's like absolutely nothing to it. The original melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be a 10-second scene, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible how he can make songs as long as they are, and it's still like super entertaining the entire time. Like, how do you keep my attention for that long on the same 2 measures? You know what I mean? Cool.
Well, he's just that good is the answer. If that is, he's really, really good at kind of the build and variation, and it doesn't really matter what the original was. Like, he's bringing a lot to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always thought that's one of the reasons me and him work so well together. It's not just that we're like the same person musically, we love the same stuff, but he is so good at the build, and he knows exactly when to bring things up and everything, and I'm really good at making things sound really big. So that's a good combination when it comes to the stuff that he and I do together.
Oh.
So the question comes, is this the end of King's Chill? I can't even think of it, but will there be more after this?
We learned after the first one to never say never. Originally, but then, you know, once we decided that, wow, that one actually, that did pretty well, and there's a lot more ideas out there.
Yeah.
I think the thought from there was trilogy, but, you know.
But
The Hitchhiker's Guide was also a trilogy.
Yeah, I mentioned trilogy. That the Space Quest trilogy is 4 games, so
it
the original
could be
Space Quest
quartet,
right?
Yeah. So there's nothing saying never, you know.
Although I will have to say that the original idea of having Volume 3 be a double album, given the challenge in getting this one together, the idea of waiting until we had a double album's worth of material, of like, I can't wait that long. This thing's got to come out sooner than that. I'm voting for a single album so we can make this happen.
Well, if you hadn't done that, it would have been like a year or more. I guarantee it. You know, so thank you for pushing so that this would go through and get out there.
Yeah.
And we just had the best sample from King's Quest 5. The Rub 'em Out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love that one. It's so dumb, I love it.
I thought that whole scene was so sudden. It's like, hey guys, walks into the inn. Let's kill this guy. You know, it just escalates so fast.
Yeah. It's almost as like they took out a piece of dialogue, like you missed a piece. Like there was something else that was supposed to be there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no room at the inn. Let's kill him. Like, what?
I just feel like that's not a good business model to like tie your clientele in the basement.
Anyone who defends the writing of most King's Quest dialogue has not played many games, I'm not gonna lie. They're great, but there's a lot of moon logic and a lot of string puzzle.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about. The entire game hinges on throwing a boot at a rat at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is a timed event, and if you miss it, you're screwed.
And if you eat that
Childhood
bird,
me
you're
is
hungry.
crying right now.
Yeah.
Figure out the whole rest of the game, get to the end, and you just can't do it.
The game is cruel. Like, I really enjoyed it, but it is absolutely cruel.
Yeah, the boot, the pie, all of those dead man walking scenarios are just, it's not very nice.
Just don't eat any food in a King's Quest game is the rule. The general rule.
Except the ones where you'll die if you don't, like the you're getting Hunger Games.
Except when you're supposed to.
Yeah, right.
It's just not...
Don't eat the pie, eat the leg of lamb.
Yes.
Don't eat for enjoyment.
I mean, I guess it's like protein. It's better for you.
Yeah, we love these games despite the fact that they were brutal in places.
Oh, we poke fun, but we love them. We poke fun because we love them.
We kid because we love. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking like this for a game no one's ever heard of. You know, like this is we're doing this for a reason.
Well, when I was a kid too, like that didn't matter to me because it was still just fun puzzle. You know what I mean? I figured it out. I beat the puzzle. You know.
Yeah.
Move on. I can find exactly in the mountains now.
I do remember there were a couple puzzles that when I found out what the answer was, I was like, come on. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. It was something we played as a family, King's Quest 4, King's Quest 5, especially. So
using honey out on the ground in a forest and then throwing emeralds at it.
That was the one. I was like, what? I'll keep this chat PG, but it was
yeah right.
I got out. Yeah.
Well, but then for me, it was the misreading of hints and clues that got me. Like the King's Quest 3 manual, all the spells are written in cursive. You know, like the sort of thing. And so so when I was 8 or however I was when I was playing King's Quest 3, I was searching all around for a jar of land because my 7-year-old or 8-year-old didn't know what lard was. I had never learned that word, and it looked kind of like an N instead of an R. So I'm like on the ground going, "Take land. Where is land? Take land."
Oh, sad.
For like ever. I must have been like, I don't know how long it was, but it was like weeks. And then finally, I think my mom looked at it and was like, I don't think it says land. I think it says lard. I'm like, I don't know what that is because I'm 8.
Poor little Mike.
Well, we've got the 6-second one as well. The final.
Right.
We could do that one. And then, let's do that one as well. So this was just basically, if you go onto the cutting room floor or other sites like that, there are unreleased pieces of narrative from King's Quest 6. So you hit play and they took them out or they're still in the game, but they weren't actually used. And I was looking around. Trolls had actually suggested for Fanfare putting in some narrator audio just to do the thing. And so I was doing that. I saw the thank you for playing, and I was thinking how cool it would be to have the narrator say thank you for playing. So what I did is I looked through the audio and looked for the word, and there was the word chill. This wasn't like AI or anything like that. The narrator actually said the word.
Did that?
Oh yeah, I thought that was AI.
It was AI.
Yeah. No, it was literally going through the cutting room floor, and at one point he says the chill wind, something, and I cut. And then
inflection was the same, and the inflection actually worked like that. You didn't have to modify any of that.
Didn't modify it. Just I just moved the timing around.
That's
crazy.
And then they had the contest, which expired in June 1993, and I'm like, we've got ourselves a 3. So I put those pieces together, and then we had a thing, and it was just a joke. I was just like, hey, I just did this, and Trolls was like, that's how the album ends. I'm like, all right, cool. So
that's so great.
I thought for sure there were computers involved with that.
I was like, you should put that in liner notes somewhere and just be like, this is not AI. This is actually from
Yeah, no, I don't actually know how to use AI for stuff like that.
That's how everybody was gonna think it was. Yeah.
All right, right.
Yeah, I guess the last album without AI ever.
No, I used it. The little boy saying he's the ferryman. That's AI.
That's all right.
I ruined it for everyone. Sorry.
Right.
I guess you can still be on it. No.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Yeah.
We'll still allow it.
All right.
Well, that's the album. That was awesome. It was great to listen to it and hear some stories and chat about it.
Oh, that was a blast. I never don't enjoy listening to any King's Chill, so yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, this is far superior to my little demo sampler video I did the other day. So
Hey, I'm a fan of the movie trailer. I like it.
I am
This is
not a video editor, and it shows.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We're trying to get the word out and trying to share the music with people. So
any way
I
we can do
Yeah.
it.
anyway,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
we're not
just
trying to make any money. We're just trying to make an album, have some
Yeah.
fun, and have other
Yeah.
people enjoy it with us. And we've
yeah.
had a lot of people enjoy the first two albums with us, and
Mhm.
so we want to get this third one done. And
Mhm.
a lot of people should hear these. These are some fun songs. A lot of work went into these, and yeah, we like we were saying earlier, we poke fun at this a little bit, but we like Sarah said, we kid because we love. You know, that's why we're here. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love it.
Yeah,
So
I don't even want to think about, I mean, just with the music that I contributed to this, I don't even want to think about how many hours I spent working on it, and how many months it's kind of mind-boggling.
yeah,
And you multiply that by, you know, John, you mastered almost every track here, did your own song, Sarah, Erik, like the amount of hours that went into this album is crazy to me, and not crazy in a bad way. It's just like that's when we say we love these games, is like we wouldn't do that if we didn't love the music from these
yeah.
games.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no other motivation besides just let's make some fun music, and
Yeah,
take this popular music that everyone loves and let's have a little fun with it and find a new way to enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah. No one's, this is not for profit. No one's making any money on this. We
Nope,
just want to
nope.
get it
Nope.
out.
Yeah, as always, any
Uh-huh.
of the profits we just donate if there ends up being anything left over. That's what Trolls
Yeah.
has always done. And
Yeah, exactly.
despite some people not believing that, I've seen the receipts with my own eyes.
Yeah, well, haters gonna hate online,
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
always.
whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is purely just for the love of the
Mhm.
music and the love of those old games.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
really
If
fun thing is that
no,
like
yeah.
you guys are all operating at such a high level talent wise that it's just so much fun to have this group to kind of play with those songs with. And that has been an exceptional treat being able to participate and just, listen to and enjoy. So thank you. This has been a
Yeah,
blast.
Thank
it's
you.
such a great group of people. Like, some of the best advice I got was from the singer of my band here in Chicago. A bunch of years ago, he told me, he goes, the best advice I can give you is to surround yourself with people that are good at what you're bad at. And he goes, that'll get you success. He goes, I can write parts for you to play that I can't play, but you can't do some of the things I can do. And together that makes us stronger. And this whole, the King's Chill group that's been working together for years at this point, just throwing ideas back and forth. And it's always got this better than this, greater than the sum of its parts situation going on,
Yeah.
where, it comes back 2.5 times better than it sent out, just a fantastic group of people.
That's I mean I agree. I mean I only heard about King's Chill 1 like when it was being pressed, like when it was like the campaign, like I wasn't a part of its creation, and I
Same.
listened to it and I'm like, "Oh no, this is so good." Oh. You know that feeling when you listen to
Yeah.
something, you're like, "Oh no, this is really good." So I was like, I got to get in on this. And by the time I got in on it, the second one was finishing up. So I just there was just so much good stuff going on, and all y'all are so
Mhm.
freaking talented. I'm like, I want to be a part of this. So that's what drew me to this. It's just that there's so much good music
Well,
and great
we're
talent
obviously
here.
very glad that you have made that decision because you've contributed a lot in many ways to the project. So we appreciate
Yes.
you very much.
Absolutely.
Well,
Would not be here without you. I'll say it again,
hmm
Well, good music is no good if no one hears it. So we got to get this out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Thanks for
So
getting
yeah.
us to the finish line.
heck
Yeah,
yeah.
everyone go to kingschill.com.
Yep.
If you're watching this video and it's while during the pre-sale of this record, go to kingschill.com and pre-order a record, pre-order two. They make great stocking stuffers, I assure you. Or tell your friends or anything. We just get
If
the
you have a
word
larger
out.
stocking, it has
Big
to be kind of a wide stocking,
You
like
know, we can make it happen. And
Big-
if the pre-sale is ended, then I hope you enjoyed hearing this kind of tour through the album, and hope you learned something or heard something you didn't hear before. And I hope you enjoyed
but
being
yeah,
here.
makes a great Christmas gift for the King's Quest nerd in your life.
Yes,
Here you go.
Yeah, and if you're
exactly.
watching this, you know a King's Quest nerd. That's just all there is to it.
And it's probably you, actually. So
Yeah.
what are you waiting for? Go get it. Order it.
If any of the words we have said made any sense to you today, go buy it.
The album.
Right. And if they don't, and you made it this far in the video, wow.
Yeah.
That too.
What are you doing?
All right. Well, I think we'll sign off from here, and maybe we can get Trolls to add his "See You Around the Chrono Stream" ending or something. But yeah, we'll stop it from here. But thanks for watching, everyone, and thank you, all three of you, for just doing this with me and just being a part of
Oh,
this
this
and
was
just the project in general.
this was a
Pleasure.
blast. Thank you guys.
Thank you.